What's going on? What's going on to all my embracers? Y'all know what we doing. It's Thursday night. Me, Grace from Embrace the Grace, and Gary D talking about them hot topics. How you doing, Gary?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good.
What's up?
I'm good. So anybody who doesn't know me, I'm Grace from Embrace the Grace. And this is a channel where we come and we have the real conversations, the real discussions of the most messiest, uncomfortable, and awkward situations. Why? Because they're necessary. We speak to each other with respect. We don't over talk, and we try to learn and we listen from other perspectives. As far as me, you can find me on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and WhatsApp, and of course here on YouTube. And guys, please make sure you guys press the like button upon your arrival. It's like putting your purse down, your keys up when you walk into somebody's house. And don't hesitate to like, subscribe, and share. And please, if you like what you're hearing, you like what you see, definitely support the channel. With a Cash App, money tag, Embrace the Grace 23. So with that being said, Gary D, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell everybody where we can find you.
Thank you, Grace, for having me on here. What's up, everyone? This is Gary D. As you know, I'm part of Boardwalk Global Media. We do a podcast. Actually, we have a network of podcast shows, but our main show is Friday nights, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time, and it's called The Real Discussion, hosted by Rock Logic with Gary Fax and Robin. You could find us on Facebook, Instagram, under The Real Discussion, or under Boardwalk Global Media. So Grace, let's get into it.
All right, and guys, just last but certainly not least, if you guys are seeing something new where it says JVJ Network, I am currently streaming on JVJ Network. And to let you guys know, Let's Talk from JVJ is creating a network for YouTube content creators to come and bring their stuff and all collaborate together and work as a team. So if you guys want to holler at Jay, be on the network, be on the panel, make sure you subscribe, like, and share to the JVJ network as well, especially Embrace the Grace and Broadwalk Global Media. So with that being said, let's get
well, Grace.
Yeah.
Well, we definitely gotta have to say that, or I should officially welcome you to the Boardwalk Global Media family. Somebody was in.
if you guys didn't know, I was in New York this past few days, and I got a lot done. I was officially initiated in the Broadwalk Global Media family. I'll be working with them. They'll be working with me. So also go check them out. Guys, I'm all over. I am networking, getting to know great people, building great rapport and relationships. And that's what it's all about. Because I'm not here just for a fun time. I'm here for a long time. But anyway, let's get into it. Gary.
Yeah.
The art of apologizing. How do you feel about apologizing? What's your take on it?
Apologizing. I mean, I think that there's three different type of, I guess, apology, if you will. You have one where the person who does it, it's real genuine. Like, they're real genuine. And I think that's the one that most of us want. Then you have the second one where people will apologize just to, okay, I'm gonna make them shut up. I'm gonna just, there's no.
Yeah, just to appease them.
Yeah, just to appease them, right? And then the third one is, just, the people that there's no genuine, right? They just say it, and you could see and or feel that there's no genuineness to it, right? So why even say it in the first place, right?
Exactly, and that makes it worse. That's like adding insult to injury. So before we go any further, Gary, I got my boy True Table here. He came up. I know it was kind of last minute again, True, but it's been a few days. I appreciate you coming in. Go ahead and let everybody know who you are and where we can find you.
True Table, content creator. Same name on the screen. You can find me on IG, TikTok, and YouTube. I'm an advocate for men in relationships alike. So I'm just here to support Grace and her expansion. Just want to add to the conversation.
And thank you for coming. And so let me go ahead and jump you right in, True. What is your take on apologies?
I need more context.
I mean, how do you feel about it? The art of apology. We're going to start very basic right now, and then we're going to get into it. But how do you feel? Do you think that they're necessary? Do you think they're given enough? I mean, whatever you have a take on.
I think apologies, yes, I think they're very necessary and beneficial for two reasons. One, if you are truly apologetic, that means that you possess the ability to be introspective and take accountability. And two, it helps to bridge closeness and even establish trust with the individual that you are apologizing to. That's how I look at it. So yeah, very necessary.
Awesome facts, because once you hear me go through the information, you right on point. And next, let me go ahead and introduce Smitty. He's practically becoming my co-host. So go ahead and let everybody know who you are and where we can find you, and then give me what your take is on apologies.
All right. Am I coming through clear? Am I coming through clear? Okay, no, I was just making sure, because sometimes it glitches.
Yes.
Okay. All right, respect, respect. It's your boy Smitty. You can definitely find me on the JVJ Network every Friday night, 9 o'clock Eastern time. If you type in on YouTube, or if you type in on social media, just type in Smitty's Corner and/or County King. Spell county with a K, no spaces. I digress. My mic is muted. Now, what was the question again, Grace? What you got, love?
How do you feel about apologies?
Oh man, apologies.
What do you think of apologies?
I think that apologies are necessary. I do believe that apologies, when sincere, should at least be, if not anything else, considered. You don't have to accept it. Depending on what took place, you don't have to accept that apology, but I would say at least consider it. And the reason why I would say consider it, because, you know, if you go to a word, somewhere I read something about a ye who cast the first stone. I don't know. You might be knowing what I'm speaking of, right? So my whole thing is, the fact is, everybody, I don't care who you are, everybody at some point in life wanted to be, or wants to be, or will need to be forgiven. So to totally just like be on some, you know, I'm this unapologetic, never forgiven type person, I would say you're disrupting your own balance. But I will say at the same time, I do recognize that there will be many times in life where there are some things that are unforgivable. There are some things that a person can do that makes you irredeemable. Absolutely. I digress. My mic is muted. Rock out, Grace.
Smitty, I call that the point of no return. When there you go. I mean, you could forgive someone, but that doesn't mean you have to continue a rapport or a relationship or a friendship with them. Because if anybody knows, I mean, I don't want to talk too much about forgiveness. Gary, there's a topic. Apologies, just like forgiveness, are really for yourself and for that other person to come to some kind of resolution. So let's get right into it, gentlemen. What is an apology? I mean, we could talk about it all day, but some people may be so foreign to it because they're not used to apologizing. They walk around like Gary's grandma used to say, they want to be wrong and strong. And that is one of the biggest pet peeves that I have in whatever relationship I have with a person. It's a deal breaker. I won't be your friend. I won't be your girlfriend. I won't mess with you at work. If you're the type of person to always walk around being wrong and strong and not even acknowledging, I mean, I'm to the point now, gentlemen, that I don't even look for apologies anymore. Maybe just a my bad or damn, that was fucked up. Some type of acknowledgement. But if you're the type of person to walk around wrong and strong, at least 51% of the time, I'm not embracing you. So with that being said, an apology is an expression of regret and or remorse for action that they have done or said to hurt another person. Keep in mind that an apology doesn't erase the hurt or make everything okay. I want to kind of touch on this a little bit because a lot of people think just because you apologize, the shit is gonna poof, magically go away. What do you guys have to say about that?
I mean, I think that, again, as I was saying earlier, if it's genuine, right? If it is genuine, if it's sincere, that helps a hell of a lot, right? Because it's the way it's said, it's how it's said. Because for someone to do something bad, if you have a friend or a good friend and they do something and, you know, they do something that upsets you and they just say sorry, right? That to me is, you know, there's no feeling there, right? So I think that, you know, in order for it to work, right? You have to be genuine with it. Like you got to feel it. At least it's gonna, to me, that would say, well, okay, the person cares, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's how that works. I mean, I dealt with a situation one time where this chick said, "Well, I'm sorry for I'm sorry for how I acted, but not for what I said." After that, I was like, "Fuck you." You understand? Like, wait a minute. If that was the case, then don't say it.
You're right. You're right. I got this comment. Hold on. I gotta show it. Michelle, where you at, Michelle? It's coming. She said, well, I'll just read it. Too many people think they're too good to apologize, and those just do not understand the concept of a sincere apology. And I agree with you, Michelle, and that's why I'm doing this show. Some people, apologies are so foreign to them, and they walk around wrong and strong. Well, you know what? Embrace the Grace is here to try to teach people about the importance of an apology and how to apologize. So, True, once again, I'm going to ask you, do you think in most cases people go about, if an apology, that makes everything better?
All right. So as Gary was talking, I'll answer it like this. I think people need to first start with the understanding that no one owes you an apology. And I also think that people have to do a real mature assessment of also understanding that you are not above being offended. Interacting with people, they're gonna offend you. That's just the nature of the game. So you probably would best benefit by studying the nature of the person, because a lot of times if you study nature, what someone may do doesn't maybe require an apology, especially if it's outside of their nature. With that said, apology again to me is necessary only if you are remorseful, like Gary said, and if your intention is to really convey or over convey to that individual that you respect them, that you acknowledge where you were wrong, and that you intend on doing better. That's what I would say to
guys,
that. My mic is muted.
Get all that information, because all of this is all relevant. Smitty, so do you think when you apologize or somebody apologizes to you, it's supposed to be poof, it's magically gone, or there's more to it than that?
Respect to the two brothers on the panel. All right. I have to respectfully disagree with everything I have heard thus far. I disagree with it all. I don't know what we talking about right now. No, let's get it straight. We're gonna rock out. All right. We all know that there's such a thing called, like, for example, what was that old saying? If you do something once, boom, that's a mistake. You know, if you do it again, I think it's an accident, and then 3 times or more is now considered a decision, right? You do something enough, it goes, oh, you can't just keep saying my bad. Now you choosing to do that, right? Now rock out, watch out. Here we go. The reason why I disagree, because there is something that comes with an apology as far as definitional wise. An apology is the redirection of one's actions. See, the reason why I say I disagree with Gary, like, yeah, because you got to feel it. Not bump all of that, Gary, because depending on what your feelings are for that person, depending on how much that person can woo or sway you, you can keep on getting trick bagged, brother. So no, you don't. No. On that one, I would say do not go on your feelings. When it comes to an apology, you go by the actions from that point on in the future. They say it, okay, all right, my bad, whatever. Then from that point on, you only pay attention to, are they changing what it is that they said that they would change? All right.
Okay.
Now, when it comes to the brother, real quick, I'm almost done. Now, when it comes to the brother that just I'm sorry, I've got his name that logged off. When he was saying no one owes you an accountability, actually, I would say this. You owe yourself. Like, let's just take it in a situation where you are wrong, or at least you may even feel like you got a part to play. You owe it to yourself to give yourself that moment of growth. Don't you deny yourself that moment of growth because you want to have this stubborn mentality of nobody owes you an apology. No, you owe yourself that moment to figure out which direction do you want to take it in. Because the fact is that if we do consider ourselves leader, then we have to move in a leadership type position. And I'm not going to be on like, well, don't nobody owe me no apology. So, because when you think that way, then me, myself, personally, to land it, if I was to say to myself, don't nobody owe me no apology, well, guess what? I'm going to go around not apologizing to nobody. So then we'll just have this big, big cycle of everybody going around once again thinking about themselves. So with that being said, I digress. My mic is muted. Rock out.
All right, let me just chime in here. Let me just chime in here. So,
go ahead.
To me, it's what the person means. So if it's someone, and I think all of us have had someone or people that's very close to us, near and dear. So if something happens with them, that's the genuine, the more genuine apology. So to me, yes, feelings has to be involved, because if someone's near and dear, that's emotions. And I think all of us, we feel that. But again, to that person or those people that's near and dear and close to us. So if something happens or goes wrong and they apologize, then it needs to be a genuine apology. But at the same time, now, if they're going to apologize and it's not genuine, then obviously you take a different, you take a different step. Hold on. So now when it comes to regular people, I think that when apology is done, I think it's just out of respect, right? Someone can say something, something could happen and they could say that they're sorry, and the way it comes across would be genuine respect and understanding, and okay, I acknowledge what I did, so I'm sorry and stuff like that. Then you got others who will say it and it doesn't mean anything, right? You could already tell off the bat, like, it's BS. All right, I'm done.
I think the feeling, I think the emotion.
I'm sorry, Grace. Go ahead.
I think the feeling and the emotion that we're talking about is, it has to be sincere and emotional apology. It has to have some type of emotion. If you're just gonna say, okay, sorry, okay, what are you sorry about? Why are you acknowledging, what are you apologizing for? So with that being said, I have to say this comment here: an apology means nothing unless it's followed by changed behavior. And I think, Smitty, that's what you were trying to relay. And I love the word that you use, redirection. You're absolutely right. But at the initial apology, it has to have some kind of sincerity. It has to be genuine, and then followed by changed behavior. Because if you keep apologizing for the same shit and you keep doing it over and over again, are you really sorry? Or are you just saying that to appease the moment?
But then
let me respond. Hold on, Gary. Let me respond, Gary. Let me respond real quick.
Go ahead.
Beautiful. I love the way y'all put that. Now, see, the thing is this. The verbal aspect of that is only you signing the contract. Look at it like that. When you say whatever it is that you're saying, all that is the initiation to what it is that you're letting that person know of what is to come. I'm letting you know that my actions are about to change. I realize that saying this or doing that doesn't make you comfortable or doesn't make you feel all right back. So I'm going to change that. See, the words is only the initiation. The actual apology is when future times like that arise, You actually move different. Your actions are different. You don't do the same thing. See, that's where that comes in. Now, when y'all talking about the whole flip part, the only reason why I shake my head no, it's because I shake my head no because I've had times where people have given me, I'm talking about the most genuine, heartfelt, sincere apology, and it meant nothing. They changed nothing in their actions. I've also had people that, you know what, they did something that was not cool at all. And I was like, bro, I mean, you know, I don't know how you feel about that, blah, blah, blah. And they just hit you with a slight, man, my bad, bro. I ain't going, my bad, I got you. But guess what? They real deal changed their actions. They didn't say too much. See, not everybody is real good with the whole verbalization of it. Not everybody's going to get all sentimental with you. But you better believe that what it comes down to, how you gauge it is, what do you do from this point on? I don't care how you make me feel and what you say. I digress. My mic is muted. Rock out.
And I would have to agree with that. And I have to push back on this statement that Red Illusion said. He says, never apologize if you did nothing wrong. After doing this research today on apologies, it's really not, okay, I get it where you did nothing wrong, but if that other person feels some type of way and they feel like you did something wrong, again, it's not about you. You committed an offense to a person. Who are you to say, Red Illusion, that you didn't do nothing wrong? So that's kind of like a catch-22. I would love for you to come up and really, really break that down. What do you want to say about that, Gary?
I was just gonna say, like, now, when you're dealing with people that are narcissists, right? Narcissists clearly they don't want to, they don't want to apologize. They don't do any of that. So that is, so when people are dealing with narcissists, that's going to be a serious issue, right?
Well, let me speak. Are we still live? Let me speak to that. I agree with you, Gary. But that's this word narcissist. People love to take things and run with it. Not specifically you, but I know things become popular. The last I checked, I think they only clinically have diagnosed like 6%, little over 6% of males that are narcissists to date. And I think women are around 3.2% of clinically diagnosed narcissists. So it's such a small percentage of people. That's not something you commonly will run into. But I think with the apology and the whole topic around apologizing, it's very much contextual, because people issue public apologies all the time that are celebrities that are not necessarily sorry for what they did. They're sorry for the way it has made their public or their following feel. So they're trying to reinstitute a good self-image, or keep things, now fluid and bright, and giving you the viewer or the fan base, the illusion that they actually are developing in character. So it's contextual. It depends on, I think Gary said it, who you're talking to. What's the relevance of this relationship?
Exactly, right.
Yeah. So,
absolutely.
But
and
that's
Grace,
all I want to add.
Thank you, True. And Grace said it gracefully. Apologies require accountability. Sometimes
I was just going to say that.
Sometimes we must show others how to genuinely take accountability and apologize. Sometimes teaching such by example takes time and much forgiveness. Right, you're absolutely right with that. And hey, Jane, how are you, hon? Thanks for coming and supporting the show. I appreciate you, really do. You're welcome to come up. I would appreciate it. And then got another comment coming out. What did Braxton say? Oh, well, he's telling me stuff that's going on in his life right now. So we'll just keep it moving. Not that I'm ignoring you, but you could tell me in the back chat, Braxton. Okay, so let's keep it pushing. Apology does establish that your action or words were wrong, and that you will strive harder in the future to prevent from happening again. Saying you're sorry is more than just words. You're showing that you respect the other person's feelings. that you value that relationship, you value that friendship, you value that family member or that coworker. Apologizing is a chance for you to be honest, humble, and act with integrity. I mean, it's not a bad thing, people. Sometimes it's necessary, especially if you value the relationship with the person that you're having the conflict with.
But that's how, and that's kind of what I was saying. How close are you with the person, right? So if you value the relationship, right, then the apology should mean something. If you don't value the relationship, then you're probably not going to care.
Exactly. And then Wally, thank you, Wally, for coming and supporting the show. He said, I agree with Red Illusion, yet I understand Embrace point. I mean, I get it, but there is some times where there's apology is warranted. In a world that teaches feelings over facts, the truth is of the most importance. So I do agree with Red's statement. Okay, I hear you.
Can I say one thing real quick, Grace? I think what we keep missing
absolutely.
I think what we keep missing is the apology is not the words. The apology itself, the actual apology is your actions. Like, look at it like a gift. Watch this. Look at it like a gift. The gift is not the shiny box with the wrapping paper and the bow. The gift was actually inside the box. You know, we go wrapper and open the box because we try and get to what's in it. So my point is, the shiny paper and the ribbon and all of that is just to attract you to what the gift really is. The apology is really the action. The gift, the wrapping paper, those are the words. Some people are good rappers.
I hear you, Smitty. And real quick, JVJ, we're talking about the art of apology. But you guys, you guys are talking about change behavior, but I'm taking it to ground zero. I'm just simply trying to teach people what an apology is, how to apologize. Getting to the action part is the next step. So if you guys can work with me, everything y'all saying, I agree. As far as apology is change behavior and its action, but I'm trying to get to the intermediate people who don't even fathom what an apology is, how to apologize, why to apologize. Okay. Some people don't even recognize when they're even. Some people don't even recognize when they're even supposed to apologize. I said, and that statement that read, even if I didn't do anything, don't ever apologize if you didn't do anything wrong. That's an opinion. You may think you didn't do anything wrong, but that other person may think you did something wrong. So with that being said, Wally, how you doing, my dear? You there?
I'm doing all right. Yeah, I'm doing. Can you hear me? You guys hear me?
We can hear you. Thank you for coming up. Do you have anything to add to this?
You sound great. No.
All right, look, real quick. So the reason why I would agree with Revolutions on this is because, for just one part, is because, yeah, I would say from one side of the view, if you automatically believe that you didn't do nothing wrong, there's nothing for you to really apologize for. But then on the same notion, from what you broke down, I would also agree on one side. I would say, okay, based on the situation, yeah, there could be a reason for that person to apologize for the simple fact of maybe how words were said and uttered in translation. Because, of course, in some sense, you may say something and it may make the other person feel bad, but you believe what you said was just normal. But it made the other person feel bad. So, in some sense, you would acknowledge that fact and then eventually apologize.
Exactly.
But that's what I'm saying. That is all interpreted based upon the situation. Because I ain't gonna lie, depending on certain situations, it's like if you were to bring that situation, and let's say one of us is the counselor, and we're hearing the situation, how it went down, and everything else. It's like, well, pick and choose.
Yep.
Done. I have one. I think I got. Oh, my bad. My bad. I'm sorry. Maybe you're on delay. Maybe.
No,
I'm
no,
sorry.
go ahead, Smitty. Go ahead. No, you're good. You're good.
No.
You're good.
Oh, okay. Okay. Respect. Nah, I didn't want you to think I was cutting you off. All right. So look, I think this could sum it up good right here. All right. My father, I remember I was talking to my dad one time. And when I was talking to him, he was saying to me, right? He was I said, Dad, how come always I tell you I love you, but you don't never really say it back? You know what my pop said to me? My father was saying to me,
What do you say?
he said, Mike, yeah. He said, Mike, I would rather you show me you love me every day and never tell me, as opposed to always tell me you love me and never show me. And then he broke down to me the actual definition of the word love. It's a verb. I can say, oh, Grace, oh, baby, I love you so much, but never show it. It's a verb. What
And
is
it
a
doesn't
verb? A
match.
verb is an
Your
action.
words don't match. You.
It's no, I'm just saying, like, sticking to it on a basic level, like you were saying, right? A verb is the action. You don't just tell somebody you love them, you show them. You don't just
Yeah,
tell
you show them you
somebody
love
I
them.
apologize, you show
You
them.
show them, and that's exactly
I
right. And
digress.
again,
Yeah.
I agree with the panel, but I'm trying to take it back a notch. There is some people, and I hate to put it this way, especially women, who walk around so self-entitled and think that they shit don't stink. They're not, that they can't even fathom what an apology is, or that man deserves an apology. That's who I'm trying to reach right now. We all have some type of sense here, and that we're all talking together. But it's those basic people who want to walk around wrong and strong 24/7, and go around hurting people and knowing they're doing fucked up shit to people, and not even thinking of throwing an apology with sometime. That's who I'm trying to reach. So according to verywellmind.com, relationships can be wonderful buffers against stress, but relationship conflicts can also be considerably emotional pain and stress. Knowing how and when to apologize can repair damage in a relationship. But if somebody doesn't know how to apologize sincerely, you can actually make things worse. So if you see what I'm trying to do, guys, here, I'm just trying to make people understand when to apologize, how to recognize when to apologize. And then we can get into the intermediate level and be like, okay, now that you've apologized, what next? And that, of course, is change behavior. So with that being said, go ahead, True.
I think
Go ahead.
Smitty's been digging into it, and I think we all kind of agree. I don't think that if we want to add value to the audience listening, the apology from a verbal perspective is just verbal acknowledgement. As everyone was talking, I was thinking about like candidates for presidency. We don't elect officials by them be putting them in office and then they just action out and carry out the duties. They have to verbalize and set a point of expectation of what we can expect. That's pretty much what an apology is, especially if an offense has already happened. It's just a way of setting a parameter and expectation and giving whoever, an acknowledgement of you're aware, you understand, and you have intent. That's what I'll say. My mic is muted.
And then Grace said, in any relationship in which one truly cares for the other, then humility is key. And again, expect for others instead of from others, and apologies will come naturally. Absolutely. Absolutely. But if somebody doesn't know how to apologize sincerely, again, they can actually make things worse. A sincere and effective apology is when one communicates genuine empathy, remorse, and regret, as well as a promise to learn, here you go, Smitty, from your mistakes. In other words, you need to believe that you did something wrong and feel sorry for the hurt you caused. Red Illusion may perceive that he didn't cause a hurt or didn't hurt my feelings, but if I'm telling you, yo, that offended me, that was fucked up, the apology, you see what I'm saying? That's why I'm kind of triggered on that comment, because what I may seem offensive may not seem offensive to Red Illusion, but to say that you'll never apologize if you did nothing wrong, so that means you're perfect. You're never going to do anything wrong. Not apologizing when you're wrong can be damaging to your personal and professional relationships. It can also lead to resentment, anger, and hostility that may grow over time. Research suggests that some of the major reasons why people don't apologize are that they really aren't concerned for the other person or other person's feelings. Apologizing threatens their own self-image, or they believe that an apology, what good is it? It's not going to do any good anyway. So you see that thin line where I'm treading with Red Illusion?
Well, you said you said one of the key words that you said there was empathy, right? So there has to be some type of empathy, and there's some people that don't have any. And if someone is going to give an apology and there's no empathy there, then yeah, it's basically meaningless. I mean, clearly there also has to be change behavior, and I think that's something that is understood. But I mean, there has to be some type of empathy there, especially if you're close to that person, if you value that relationship there, because that is different than as how True, and I think Smitty was saying, when you're dealing with these candidates and people like that, or these stars, like they only saying sorry for convenience, right?
Yeah.
To make them look good, right? And whereas we're talking about, more personal relationships, more the relationships that we value, the relationships that matter, right? So when it's those kind of relationships, that's very different, because those are close to us. Those are the ones that's what we value.
Absolutely. Smitty, what did you have to say?
What was the last part? So when you was reading that definition, please, can you go back on that again, please?
Absolutely. The last part is that apology threatens their own self-image, or they believe that an apology won't do good anyway. That's why a lot of people won't apologize, because one, they're not concerned with the person or the person's feelings. I mean, they don't value that person, and that's okay too. If you want to fuck somebody over and not apologize because you don't care about that person, hey, that's okay too. But I'm trying to key in on these relationships that people have, romantic relationships. I mean, there are some people who unintentionally and intentionally hurt people and just walk away and don't say anything, don't apologize, don't take accountability. And that's the fuckery I'm trying to key in on. It's like, you can't go around saying you care about this person or you have feelings about this person, and you unintentionally or intentionally hurt somebody and not at least have the integrity to do the right thing. When you do a wrong, you're supposed to make it right.
Yeah.
Go ahead, True. What you have to say?
I don't know if it's
Go ahead,
true.
Smitty.
Yeah, no. I'll just respond briefly and then go ahead, True. Pass it over to you, bro. Again, Grace, love, the way that I look at apologies, again, when it comes to that aspect of it and everything else, is that's about personal growth. So people who generally have that attitude, those are the very people who I can almost promise you are the very ones who always, when things go wrong in life, they're always pointing fingers everywhere else. These are the very people who never know how to just sit with themselves just for a moment and think about what is my part to play in whatever happened. Even if it was a 70-30, 70 on them, 30 on me. But what was my 30%? Let me
Exactly.
look at whatever my play was and whatever took place. All right, and just deal with yourself. So when you talk about apologies, those who really have that type of mindset, those are people who are always outward livers. You know, like the way they live is always outward. Everything is always projected out. These are people that never go inside, sit with themselves, and really figure out what do I consist of, what are my likes and gripes for real, and what are my weaknesses and strengths. I digress. My mic is muted.
Anything else you guys have to say before I go forward?
Yeah. So I just want to say that I think
Go ahead,
that I think also too, in the context of relationships, right? You know, as I always say, and I know I sound like a broken record, you've got to be able to have effective communication. Because if you and your partner have effective communication, things should and supposed to flow a lot smoother.
Yeah, they are. They're supposed to. That's the key word, operative word. They're supposed to. And you know what, guys? I know we do sound like a broken record every week, but it's having those real conversations. People get mad. Okay, me and True start dating. He does something that I don't appreciate, I don't like. How am I going to get upset if he doesn't know that that's something that upsets me or triggers me? You would have to have that real conversation. And I'd be like, you know, True, I didn't appreciate the way you handled this. Woo, woo, woo. Now he knows. You can't get upset with somebody when they did something unintentionally. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
What?
Unfortunately, Grace, I've happened to notice this. People, period. Because I've talked to some homeboys who went about it like that. I'm like, bro, what is you doing? As well as I have also experienced females to do exactly what you're saying, as far as people have this assumption that, like, as soon as we meet, you just supposed to know everything that makes me tick, everything that I like and don't like, and everything else. And you could be around somebody and you could be in that route, getting to know them, do one thing wrong. They won't tell you did something wrong. Then go ahead and, because they don't have good communication skills. They're socially awkward. Everything is about a text and an emoji. You see? They'll be right there in your face and not say nothing. And if only you would have addressed that little thing, we could have just got over that real quick. It's nothing. But they don't know how to communicate. So you're smack on with that. Absolutely. And then they'll ghost you and everything. And it's like, when you find out, like, are you serious? That's it? That's all it was? You couldn't say that? You couldn't talk to me about that? Really? You know what I mean? And so that's all. That's all. I digress. My mic is muted.
That's why we have, Smitty, this is why we have these shows and these topics. If you can notice, guys, all of our topics kind of roll into another topic and another topic. We talk about effective communication. We talk about emotional intelligence. Obviously, if you're just starting to get to know somebody and you're dating somebody, I'm not going to know what's going to trigger True until we have the real conversation. Right, Gary? You got to have the real conversation.
You got to have, but unfortunately, like I always say, a lot of people or a lot of these relationships, they don't have the real conversation. So they go in with assuming. Right? They're assuming, right? So they want to deal with stuff.
After the fact.
Well, after the fact, it's too late, right? And they don't even have it. No. It's not even a genuine conversation after the fact. Because I mean, if the objective is building a strong relationship with someone, like with anything, it takes time. You gotta It's give and take. You got to learn each other as you go. People don't want to do that shit no more, right? And in learning each other as you go, it's about communicating effectively. So you begin to understand not only from what is said or talked about, but also cues, right? Verbal and non-verbal. People don't do that shit no more. So they want to go into assumptions, and then that's why we got all the shit that happened now.
Well,
Absolutely. Let me go ahead and welcome. Hold on, True, real quick. Let me go ahead and welcome Simon Hectic. Thanks for coming on the panel. You're somebody new that I haven't seen, or you could be on the JVJ network team. But either or, thank you for coming. I appreciate it. What were you? I don't know how much you've listened to what we've been talking about, but what would you have to say about it, Simon?
Yeah, I mean, thanks for having me up. I've been here a couple of times, kind of under different pseudonyms, but yeah. Apology is kind of interesting to me because, I've lived sort of like about 4 decades in my life, and I've only apologized twice. I've never had to apologize.
Well, maybe you've never done a lot of things wrong. Could that be a safe assumption to say?
No, I don't know if it's right or wrong. I think people get conditioned to think that you can just say sorry and you can get away with it. Like, so, kids do this all the time. It's like they spill some milk or something. It's like, why do you spill that milk? And it's like, oh, you're not supposed. Oh, I'm sorry, Daddy. It's like, all right, don't do it again. And then they go into different environments, and they grow up with this sort of ideology to think that it's okay to say sorry. When the fact of the matter is it's one of these things. I was speaking to someone else about this earlier, that we're just not taught what sorry means.
And that's what I'm trying. That's what I'm here for, to try to teach people what an apology is, how to apologize, how to recognize when to apologize. So True, I'm gonna go ahead and let you finish your thought, and then I'll get into it about how to recognize reasons to apologize. Go ahead, True. Speak your thoughts, my dear.
Oh no, thanks, Grace. I just wanted to say that a lot of things around the context of apologizing, I believe if you're not under a structure of submission, and if you're truly not submitted to something, this could be a work relationship, employee to boss, this can be a romantic relationship, partner to partner, or whatever you want to call it, then yes, an apology probably wouldn't be something that I would encourage people to expect unless you are operating under the confines of submission. Because in order for you to even get to the place to where you want to apologize or feel it's necessary, you have to be operating in a submissive perspective, even if it's moment to moment. And I digress. My mic.
True, would you say submitted? True, would you say submitted and committed? I mean, you have to be committed to that relationship, whether it's romantic, friendship, family member. You would have to be committed and have some type of value, and then be submitted. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would definitely agree with that.
Can I ask True a question?
Go ahead.
So, in the circumstance of being submissive, is that the only realm that people can say they're sorry?
No, I don't believe it's the only realm, but I'm trying to take it from, that's why I use the examples I use. I think if you are a person who can conjure up an apologetic, action, conveying that you're apologetic, you're operating under submission. It's the only way you would do it. Other than that, it doesn't really yield much value, in my opinion. And even this is even coming from a place of authority. When I was a boss for so many years, I apologized to people who were insubordinate of me, but it wasn't based on position. It was based on the fact that there is a working relationship. So I needed to establish certain kinds of things to continue to be effective in my leadership as well as that relationship. I had to submit at that moment, or I chose to. And I think that that's how that works, in my opinion.
I've apologized to my son. There have been times where I've been wrong as an adult and as a mother, and I found myself sometimes it's warranted. You're absolutely right. True. I've apologized to some of my employees and my workers who I've upset or maybe overreacted or did something. Absolutely. And Leanne is coming up here. How are you, my dear?
Just wonderful.
Can I ask True another question?
Absolutely.
Yo, True. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
What does insubordination mean?
Well, the action, though, a subordinate, so I don't know if I use the right term, but someone who is of lower rank in the hierarchy. That's what I was referring to. That in the action of apologizing, even being in a position of authority to exercise, maybe someone conveying to me, oh, well, you overlooked me, or you used a certain tone I didn't care for. Well, I could have chosen to take my position and overshadow how they felt based on position. I chose to operate in submission because in true leadership, in my opinion, you have to be submitted. You're submitted to the title, you're submitted to the mission, you're submitted to the cause. So you operate in submission if you're apologetic.
Go see.
I hope I answered your question.
So like if someone's in that position, don't you think they're already feeling a bit like in a position where they're feeling a bit like a degenerate already, and then you're going to get them to go, I'm sorry, like, and apologize for like what exactly?
Well, I think you broke up for a second, so if you don't mind, can you repeat your question?
Sorry, I wanted, my mic was a bit twisted. If you're in a position, all right, if right, you're in this position, okay. I'm gonna do short term. Right, you're in a position where like you're talking about insubordination, and realistically, the people that you're surrounded by are beneath you, or in a such position that they're not above you. So it becomes an insubordinate position. Then they do something, and you're going to turn around and say, are you going to have an expectation for them to say, I'm sorry? Like in terms of apologizing for something that they may have done wrong, although they're in that position, or you're going to be sympathetic or empathetic, or you're just going to just go, okay, that's just how it is.
I think that's a pretty broad question. I think it's case by case. Obviously, certain things have to be met with certain types of responses. I think what we're trying to frame is that if we're communicating with people, and this is more around relationships, but in this case, the example I used, when I was saying I used the wrong term. I'm referring to someone who is not of the same equal authority in the context of a working capacity. So there's been times that I have apologized to someone who was not of equal authoritative value, but I was operating under submission where I did not have to apologize. I chose to. And that was because I believe that I want to always show from the position that even I have to submit to the call, the position, the authority, the mission. Especially if they conveyed to me whether I either communicated ineffectively, I potentially made them feel away, so on and so forth.
And I think that also goes back to, as we were saying, that you're valuing the relationship. So just because you're in a position of authority, or I think that we don't want people to feel that, because you're in a position of authority, you don't apologize. I mean, even when you're in a position of authority, you can apologize. I mean, things happen where in an authoritative authoritative position, if you value, is it the working relationship or a personal relationship? You know, if you value it and something happens, then yeah, there's nothing wrong with apologizing. And yeah, and for that moment, just as True said, yeah, there you submit to giving the apology, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think that, you know, any what's the word I'm looking for? Understanding person, you know, would know that and do that.
Okay, what
Doesn't
do you
Can
make
y'all
any
think?
respond
less.
when y'all done? No, when you two done, please.
Go right
That's all.
ahead, Smitty.
You sure? I didn't want,
Yeah.
I was just, okay. I just want to say this, listening to you guys. My father, he's one of those, like, he really is a teddy bear, but like externally, you know, he don't show too much emotion. My father's not too big on telling you emotional words and all of that. I'm gonna tell you right now, bro. Being 40 now, my father being 68, I have seen mistake after mistake that my father has made. My father does not say, I apologize. I'm not saying this is the right thing to do, but all I'm gonna say is this. One thing I do know is that all the times that my father has not apologized, the way he apologizes is he does something for you. That's what he does. He don't, bro, you will not catch my father saying, you know what, son, yeah, nah, you're right, I apologize. Bruh, bruh, that would be absolutely pigs flying type day to hear my dad say, I apologize about something. But I tell you this much, he continuously shows exactly how he truly feels day in, day out, year in, year out, through his actions. Period. I mean, you know, some people, I think we got to remember that everybody is not, you know, a verbal genius, if you want to say it, whatever. Not everybody has it, bruh. Some people, it's just for whatever reason not in them to really just apologize for real. But you know what? It just might be in them to show you exactly how they feel. Some people can show you better than they can tell you. I digress.
think
My
that
mic is muted.
Everybody's not wired. It's understand. I think it's clearly understood that everybody's not wired the same way, right? So I think it's just. I mean, as you were saying, Smitty, obviously you got to see how your father is and how he did things, and I mean, you know, there are other people that are like that. So clearly, everybody's not wired. It's basically like one size doesn't fit all. Right, so you know, we just have to understand the person that we're dealing with.
Yes, obviously, and I agree with you. I think that since I'm an advocate for men, I do personally think that, at least the way I'm receiving it, Smitty's father may be someone who's a little bit more old school. A lot of men from that generation and that era were less wordy, and that's fine. But I think if men have an interest in being in a relationship with a woman, it would very much aid you to develop your speech. It would very much aid you to develop using words, because, you know, unlike men, we do a lot of communicating by our presence, by our actionable position on things. Women need to hear words. That's just how that works. So, and then the actions matching the words, you become, you know, a double-edged sword. So that's all I want to say. My mic is muted.
Absolutely. So let me jump in. Hold
ahead,
on.
Grace.
Let me just jump into this, guys. So sometimes we got to recognize what are the reasons to apologize. When you've made a mistake or hurt another person, they may be good reasons to apologize. By apologizing, you're able to acknowledge that you were wrong, discuss what is acceptable and not acceptable in your relationship, express your regret and remorse, and learn from your mistakes and find new ways of dealing with difficult situations. And not only that, it opens the lines of communication with the other person. And Leanne, go ahead. I'm not sure if you got to speak or not yet, but
No,
what's
that's all
your
right.
take on all of this?
Well, I
And
mean, I
what
kind of
you've
wanted
heard
to
so
piggyback on what Smitty was just saying, is I think that the way, we got to start at the beginning. He was talking about him and his father. I think that we are kind of setting kids up in the wrong way when it comes to having a good understanding of the meaning of an apology and the reasons for an apology.
Okay, your mic went off.
Is looking for. They're wanting to be heard, they're wanting to be understood, and they're waiting to see if you're going to acknowledge it by changing your behavior.
Yeah,
And I
run that
think
back
that
because we missed a whole bunch of what you said.
Oh, where'd you?
Your mic dropped. So start over.
Okay. What I wanted to piggyback on what Smitty had said, in the fact that I think we set up kids without all the right tools to understand the purpose and the proper times and place and the ways to apologize. I think that it's not always necessary to give an "I'm sorry" to somebody, as much as it is to listen to where you digressed, where you offended, where you crossed the line, or where you may not have understood somebody else's position. Acknowledge those issues and then proceed in accordance with your actual truth. Some people don't care if they've offended you. So, you fishing for an apology from somebody who's not going to care is something that we also need to clue children in about. If somebody's not willing to either change their behavior or they're just going to say they're sorry and they're going to do something else, then that has no meaning. And we do kids a disservice by requesting apologies from them often and over again. I mean, one of the biggest TV shows here in America on parenting is Nanny 911. And part of the thing is the kid gets put in timeout. And as part of the debriefing process, they're requested to apologize. And half of those kids aren't sorry. It's just a moot point. And, then I think that modeling that with kids, when you've made an error or you've made an assumption, or, you're yelling at them because you thought they did something and then you find out that you're wrong, hey, I jumped to a conclusion. Like, give them the information way more so than the "I'm sorry" process. And
Absolutely.
I think that the same thing works in relationships. I've been in a ton of relationships with guys and I've seen a ton of women. Women are big apologizers. I'm sorry for every stupid little thing that goes on. It's this vicious cycle that a lot of women get into. I've done it before, because you get these behaviors from your partners in a lot of situations, and these aren't typically good people to be with. They're people that you should be getting rid of as quick as possible. But because we're taught to be pleasing and accommodating in a lot of scenarios, that you get stuck in this. And so the whole concept of an apology or a genuine regret or acknowledgement of your place in a disagreement gets lost. So I just think it's I don't know. I think we just need to focus it on more meaningful interactions and start it with kids when they're young, model it as parents, and then model it with your relationships. I will consistently tell, if somebody's done something that bothers me, I'm going to tell them what bothered me, and I'm going to leave them with it. I'm not going to stand there waiting for the apology, because the words aren't what I'm looking for. If it's important enough to them, the action will change. If not, there's my information. I can either walk or deal with it.
So with that being said, panel, knowing when to apologize is just as important of knowing how to apologize. Generally speaking, if you suspect that you did something on purpose or even unintentionally hurt someone's feelings, it's a good idea to apologize and clear the air. If what you did would bother you, and if it was done to them, would you not want an apology as well? So, you know, and again,
Well, that depends.
Depends on what.
That depends on the situation. I did say this earlier. This all depends on the situation at
It depends on
hand.
the person. It depends on the situation, the gravity of the fuckery.
Wait a minute.
also-
Hold up. Speak clearly because I can't hear you on my end.
You can't hear me? Can you guys
Then
hear me?
turn the fan down,
I think-
Wally.
I
He
think
said on
Turn
his
the
end.
fan down, Wally.
You can't hear on his end.
I think that unfortunately people don't understand that sometimes you're apologizing for you misrepresenting your character, because we all are human. You know, people apologize for some of the smallest things. I mean, sometimes it's a light apology. If you're in a grocery store and you bump into somebody with your shopping cart, you're gonna apologize if you're a decent person and have, you know, good proper home training. That is not a deep relational connection. You don't have, you know, so much empathy, but you recognize that the action was something that was an accident. So you apologize, you keep it moving. You talk about relationship dynamics, that is something completely different, which requires you to have information. And if you're aware of what offends somebody, especially if you're aware and they also make you aware and you don't apologize, well, then your character's effed up. And you need to, you know, do
That's
some
kind of
growing.
That's kind of interesting what you're saying, because, like, you know, we're not ignorant to the fact that if we walk into a supermarket and we've got a trolley and you bump into somebody, that you don't have information. Like, the fact of the matter is you do have information. You know what you're doing. If you're actually going to pick up a trolley and then walk into a supermarket and bump into somebody, be understanding that that person's doing it maybe for a reason, or maybe like because they're trying to get your attention. It's the same thing on a very micro sort of level stance. So we can't make it.
Yeah, but that's the difference, the level.
Well, we were
Exactly.
taught in the sandbox that you don't put hands on people that that you don't know. So that's a character thing. That's still a development or lack of development. So I get it. That's why I said it's weighted. Some things are deeper. Like, that's not a deep thing. I bump into you, I'm gonna apologize, not because I love you or ultimately care about you. I made an action that was outside of what I know to be right. So I'm sorry. I'm gonna keep it moving.
that's
Hold on.
that's much.
Wait, can I address that real quick? Exactly what you just said, True. That goes exactly to what I was saying. You were saying it's not about all I love you or the whole. It's you're doing that for your that's a personal thing for you. That's a part of your growth, and that's exactly all it is that I was even saying earlier. And I like the way you touched on that, bro. Yeah, it's not about the other person, bro. That's about you maintaining a certain integrity and character. That's you staying a certain way. That's what that's about. Yeah, I'm with you, bro. I digress. My mic is muted.
And an apology not only offers you the chance to own your mistake you made, but reestablish what you think is okay towards that person. If you think that other person is being unreasonable, that's when you have the real conversation. And that's where discussion is necessary. You can then decide where you stand on the apology after that. Again, there has to be dialogue between people. We have to talk to one another. I don't know if I did something wrong to you if you don't address it. And there's people walking around here that will harbor things and then all of a sudden blow up at you and bring up old shit. And gentlemen, I want to give you a little nugget about women. A lot of times, I know it's confusing, we'll be having a discussion about something or an argument about something, and we'll bring up something that happened 3 weeks ago. Do you know why? The reason why is
Because you
in
guys
our
are
head,
terrorists.
no, we're not terrorists.
Lame.
It's because in our
It's
mind,
because you can't put fist on men. That's why. Because
Stop
you
it.
got to
Because
think
in
about
our
that.
minds, we have not seen a resolution. We have not seen that you recognized or addressed our feelings on that certain situation. So we'll bring it up when something else is totally irrelevant. And yes, that is a way of deflecting. Absolutely. Is it wrong? Absolutely. But it is also wrong not to have those conversations and not to address things that are bothering you at that moment. There's a lot of people here walking around holding shit in, and then they want to bring it up at the most inappropriate time, or when it has nothing to do with the lecture at hand. So,
Yo, women are not naturally confrontational. So what happens is, like with men are kind of confrontational. So, like, we could get aggressive in a second, and like we're about to like test each other as men. But I think especially like with women, if they have a discrepancy with a man, they know realistically that it could turn into a problem real quick. So they have to think about it. And that's where you're talking about, yeah, they may take like a week, 2 weeks to think about it, because you have to. Like, there's no way in hell like you're about to just lay down fists like men. Like, no, you're
no,
not
I'm
that.
not talking about
I think
physical.
that there's the traditional woman that I think that's what you're talking about there, because traditional women, they obviously behave a lot differently. These modern women, yeah, they want to fight you.
Yeah, a lot of them do. And with that being said, a sincere apology can go a long way toward mending a relationship. However, people are often unwillingly and unwillfully want to step up to the plate. Admitting that you were wrong can be difficult and humbling, but you would rather walk around wrong and strong? I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't, because apologizing also allows you to take responsibility. It means that you're acknowledging the mistakes that you made and hurting the other person. It's one of the most important and most neglected aspects of most apologies, especially those in media. And True was absolutely right when he was talking about them sorry ass, dry, lame apologies. When celebrities get caught doing something wrong, or politicians, they're only doing it because they have to, and it's the right thing to do. But they don't really mean it.
I disagree with that wholeheartedly.
There's some people that
Some of them are, not all. Let me change my words, because words matter.
There are some people that they don't want to take responsibility, right? They don't want to take responsibility. I'm sure we've met people like that, and they don't want to be accountable. And I'm sure we've met people like that. So, and I think that that's something that we have to look at too, because for those people that don't want to take accountability and they don't want to be responsible, then yeah, you're not going to get anything good out of them. Or I should say, you're not going to get anything genuine out of them. You're not going to get anything of integrity out of them, right?
Yeah, because you can't make assumptions. You can't deflect or try to shift the blame. Make it clear that you regret your actions and that you're sincerely sorry. And I'm going to give you an example, guys. This is really vague right here. I'm sorry if you were offended by something I said. This implies that the hurt feelings were a random reaction on the part of the other person. But listen to the difference when you apologize like this. Saying what I said hurtful, I wasn't thinking. I apologize and realize that I hurt your feelings, and I acknowledge what hurt you and what I said hurt you, and I'll take responsibility for it. Do you see the difference of just saying, oh, my bad, sorry what I said offended you, versus telling that person, yo, I realize what I said hurt you. I'll make sure that I think before I speak next time and not talk to you in that kind of way. I mean, it matters. Go ahead, Smitty.
That's a whole nother show.
Yeah, that part.
It's not really a whole other show. I think you made a really good point.
My thing is this. Yeah. My thing is this, right? As a man of 40 years of age who has now gone through, so many different circumstances in life, from personal, friendship, business, you name it. I have heard so many different versions of an apology, but I've only seen one true version of it actually playing through. And that is from those who have actually changed what it is that they said that they were doing. See, the thing is that when you talking about that, Grace, like, I really apologize. I take for my actions. You gotta recognize there's some of us out here who truly have lived. And Lord knows, I mean, like a judge on a bench, how many excuses, how many different ways I've heard somebody try to weasel their way out of something. How many different times have I heard it? I don't care what you sound like. I only care what you look like. You can sound as passionate as possible and don't change nothing. I mean, you can just be all around. I mean, just, you know what? And I really recognize, I've seen people. I mean, you got some of the best con artists, actresses out here. I mean, they will even go as far as to tell you why they know what they did, they was wrong and everything else. Why? For whatever reason, just to keep you around. Because they just, you know, whether it's a financial thing, relationship thing, whatever it may be, they just don't want to break that connection. So that's why they're going through all those hoops and hurdles. But let's just be for real, man. Like, I'm not listening to nothing nobody got to say to me at this point in life, bro. I'm only going by what you show me. You can, bro, I've had so many friends to land it say, oh yeah, how many of us heard this? Oh yeah, man, we need to get up. We need to go out and do something sometime. We need to go ahead and blah, 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 blah. And nothing comes out of it. Like, bro, I've noticed that we are in a day and age where people really are in the mind state of, no, we all just kind of talk it like while we're at the function. But then when it's really time to actually, no, I didn't really mean what I said. So that's what I'm trying to get you to understand, Grace Love. Like seriously, I've heard so many different people talk about what they want to do, when we should meet up, when this should go down, and everything else. Oh man, I got a plan for this. I got a plan for that. I've heard some of the most passionate statements that came out to be nothing. Nothing. So
Yeah,
just gotta recognize there's a lot of folks like myself out here. I digress. My mic is muted.
Go ahead, sir.
I'm just saying, like, I hear what you're saying, Smitty, but how that transitions to me is that you're just a really bad, you have a real bad judgment of character. Like, because like that ain't the real world, to be for real. Like the way you're spitting at the moment is like, oh, I've been through this, I've seen this, I've gone through this character, that character, blah blah blah, and that's cool. But at the end of the day, like you got to be able to judge people,
Get down.
like, correctly, because the world ain't that bad, bro. The world is actually voluptuous, full of beautiful people that will enhance your life, make you sound like hallelujah.
Where you living in? Candyland? Because we living in the cold world, the freezing world.
Can I respond to him when he's done? Whatever. I just want to respond to that, brother.
Gary, hold on, Smitty.
Sure,
Gary was saying something.
Sure.
Gary, what were you saying?
Nah, Smitty could go. I'll go after.
I just want to respond to him before we get too far. So, I like what you said, brother. Respect to that. The thing is this. You want to know why I'm so good at recognizing the type of people not to be around? Because I'm majority of the time around the type of people that I should and we all should be around. See, the thing is that, again, the reason why I said what I said is because I've lived long enough When you have lived long enough, you come across multiple occasions in life of the good and the bad, the velvet and the thunder. See, that's what I'm trying to get you to recognize. The reason why I'm able to spot these things now is because of what it is that I went through. And because I went through that, now I know exactly what to look out for. But whole time while I knew what to look out for, I already knew where I fit in and where my circle was. I've always been the type that's, bruh, be around folks that's like-minded like yourself. It's too much work trying to like convince yourself around people who you already know. Like that's too much. So I just wanted to throw that in there to you, brother. You know, I keep nothing but family and very close friends around me. I only keep those who I know. I'm their keeper and they're my keeper as well. So I digress. My mic is muted, bro. Respect. Go ahead, Gary.
So, in my 53 years on this earth, I've traveled around the world and seen a lot of things and been involved with a lot of situations and definitely seen a lot of people and dealt with a lot of things. So I think that, you know, we are wired a bit, everyone's wired differently and deal with situations differently. And I think that, you know, and it's not a bad thing, you know, it's not a bad thing. Because I mean, our experience, I think we would all agree, our experiences is what shape us. But at the end of the day, we definitely want to be around like-minded people, right? Experience teaches you who to keep away from, who to watch, you know, who to be, you know, well, always be observant. It's not always about what somebody says, is about what they do. So, you know, I think those are all of the things that just in general that we have to look at, especially if we've been on this earth for, you know, 40, 50 years. But my point being is that I think in that we're wired differently and we deal with and everyone deals with situations a little bit different. I mean, I'm very observant. Someone doesn't have to say something. I'll sit back and watch, right? And see how they operate and see how they move. Because sometimes that'll tell you the whole story.
Yep.
All right.
Can I tag in here?
I'm done.
Can I tag in here? There's a couple of things.
I'm in.
I'm in. Choices of words that I've heard used in the conversation. No major disagreements necessarily. A couple of things. We talk a lot about people offending people and being offended. And I think that we live in a day and age where that is ruling interactions socially way more than it should. That legitimately being offended is a choice. If you're offended, you don't like something going on in front of you, you have every choice to walk the hell away. Boom. Instead of having an expectation for the other person to change their behavior. They're not going to change their behavior if it's not convenient to them. And if you're offended, walk away. There's no need necessarily.
Don't be scared, girl. Call them pansies. No, call them what they are. They're pansies. Don't be scared.
Well, no, I mean, if you're having a relationship, but like, you know, it's like, I feel like every relationship gets like almost beat to death. Like you were trying to mold these people into somebody that you want them to be. And, you know, we always can go back to the Maya Angelou quote. If somebody shows you who the hell they are, believe them. And their behaviors are going to change when there are consequences to their actions. And not all these things are deserving of an apology, because an apology is clearly not going to fix it. But, and then going a few steps beyond that, I lost my train of thought because I got dogs acting like fools in front of me. What was it, Simon, and you guys were saying? Oh, about the people that you run into, and there's a model of apology that needs to take place, and I don't think a lot of people are practiced in it, in the sense that, you know, the apology is never if you're genuinely sorry about something, you're going to talk about your actions only, what you control, and not specifically about the effect on the other person. You're going to acknowledge that your behavior affected the other person.
Your behavior is what caused that person to get offended.
You can't cause anybody. Your behavior does not cause anybody to do anything. It is never somebody else's fault.
If you upset me, you say something rude.
Hold on a minute. Let me clarify what I'm talking about. Let me clarify.
No. That's not. If I'm with my husband and he intentionally disrespects me in public, I mean, that's intentional. You're gonna check that. You're gonna. I may not get an apology,
that's not what I'm saying.
gonna let him know. Hold on, let me speak. I'm gonna address it to him and let him know what you did was disrespectful. I don't like what you did. I felt disrespected, and I would appreciate if you don't do it again. And that's it. End of conversation. Now, if he decides to apologize, that's his choice. But if he does it again after me addressing it, now we're walking into intentional street. You're doing intentional.
Okay, but let me clarify what I meant by that, because that came off more flippant than intended. What I'm trying to say, there's lots of people that will look at you and like, well, you made me feel like this. You may feel a certain way based on somebody's reactions or actions, but they didn't make that happen. The choice comes to them being responsive to your feelings, not in making it that way. You have to take personal responsibility for allowing yourself in the
emotional intelligence.
And that's what I'm saying, that people can't make you feel a certain way. And we have curtailed in society. People are they're looking for responses from absolute strangers because they're being offended. And
but I'm not talking about strangers. I'm talking about relationships that matter.
Even in relationships, though, we have to be careful about how we phrase what we're talking about. If you're in a relationship, well, you made me feel really small. The appropriate conversation should be, when you do these things, I feel really small. You see that the delivery is very different. It's the same story, but you're taking responsibility for being in the situation where this happened, and then they have it gives the other person a more clearly defined choice to either change their behavior or deal with the consequences as you choose to deal with them in the future.
But you have to address how it made you feel and the emotions to let that other person know.
I'm just saying, I think we're better off if we get rid of the phrase "made me feel." It's not it's not an action that's being done to you. You feel that way because you feel that way. It makes a difference, in my opinion. Hi.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Go ahead, Smitty. Keep it short. Unmute yourself.
Oh, my bad. My bad. I love it. Y'all got me in the zone. I'm listening to what y'all saying. So I'm just gonna go with this right here, right? And I'm not gonna get all preachy and stuff, but it's crazy y'all say that as far as like the feelings and how you feel about what somebody's saying. This one Bible little verse right here. This is how I've always taken it. Now, I know most Christians take it, no, that means that we allowed to eat pork. But this is what I take it as. When it says, it's not what enters what defiles, right? It's something about like, it's what proceeded from the heart. So I'm just going to tell you how I personally internalize that. And I think it goes well with what's being said. It's not about what happens. Like, it's not about what you take in. It's about how do you release it? Do you release it all angry and violent? Do you start getting all belligerent? Do you know how to just woosah and keep your cool? When it enters, how do you then give it back? And so that's how I look at that. So to land it, I'm being short to land it. When it comes to how people feel and everything else, I do believe that yes, a lot of people miss the message because they're too focused on how pleasurable it's being delivered. I digress. My mic is muted. Thank you for that, Grace. Thank you.
Absolutely. And with that being said, let's continue to learn more about an effective, sincere apology. You have to express regret. When learning how to apologize effectively, it's important to understand the value of expressing regret and empathy. Taking responsibility is important, but it is vital and helpful for the other person to know that you feel bad and hurting them and wish you hadn't, and they already feel bad because they want to know you feel bad that they're feeling bad. That's all it really is. A person wants to know, like, hey, this was wrong. This is, if you guys want to keep harping on the word feel, this is how I interpreted what you did. This is how I'm taking it in. Well, guys, it also, like we talked about last week, emotional intelligence. I love what you just said, Smitty. That's where you have to display emotional intelligence. Something upset me. How do I deal with that emotion or what that person did? Like you said, do I go crazy? Or do I check myself, count to 10? Is this really worth me addressing? Is it that big of a deal? The thing is that things have to be addressed, and a person doesn't know what they did wrong until one, they got to do it, and two, they got to know that that was something wrong that they did. But taking responsibility is important, but it's also vital that the other person knows. You can say things like, I wish I can take it back. My bad. I didn't know that would offend you. I wish I would have been more thoughtful. I'll be more mindful next time. I mean, and again, I guess it just goes with people not having effective communication skills, people not having emotional intelligence. I mean, I know we're doing a lot over here, but it all goes hand in hand. But how do you even know about an apology? You got to know what an apology is. You got to know how to apologize. You got to know when to apologize. You got to figure out if there's even an apology warranted. But apologies do make amends. If there's anything you can do to amend the situation, just do it. Isn't it better to be peaceful?
It's just excuses, and the fact of the matter is apologies don't make amends.
What's excuses?
People saying, especially adults, I mean, like with kids, I can sort of grant them that sort of stuff because they're learning about stuff. But when you're a fully grown adult and you've lived life and you've been through some trials and tribulations, you cannot turn around and say sorry all the time. For men in particular, it's ridiculous.
It's not saying all the time, people, when the level of fuckery is high. I mean, if you know,
I'm saying like, okay, you've been through like primary school, you've been through college, you've been like in high, you go through all the trials and you get your degree, you're a fully grown adult, you're a fully grown man or woman. When does that next point come in where you start saying sorry? I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, you can't say sorry all the time. This is something
I'm not saying all the time. You come on. We gotta filter some common sense now. We're talking about
all right. So when do you say sorry?
We're talking about work relationship. I'm not saying we gotta keep saying sorry every 30 seconds, but we're to the point, sir, where some people don't even know what a sorry is. It's just so down to ground zero. You're on level.
Right, so you're in a relationship. You're in a relationship, right? You get with someone new, right? You're in a relationship. Oh, everything's cool, whatever. You invite them into your house. They're wandering around your house to get a bit comfortable, and you tell them certain things. This is the rules. This is the rules of the household. Like you do not do this. You do not do that. Like, this is the rules of our household. You're not being sort of like crazy about it. It's just like, don't leave the toilet seat up. When you go into the kitchen, if you're gonna like have a dish, wash it up. Like, don't pile that nastiness up in this place. Like, if we're gonna sort of have a protocol around sort of like our existence in terms of walking in and out of the house, it's like make sure you lock the doors, like basic stuff. If someone turns around and does some stupid shit as an adult, where they leave the door open or they're piling up dishes and they're not paying attention to anything you're saying, and then they turn around and go, "Oh, I'm sorry." It's like, no, you're not sorry. You're being damn ignorant right now.
I think what you're not giving enough credence to is that you're assuming, based on your example, that everybody grew up the exact same way. And if I'm gonna use your word, adult,
not at all.
Okay, well, I'm gonna use your word as an adult. A developed adult will be someone who has enough knowledge about most people and start to assess things from a perspective that is outside of even themselves, because in instructing people on even how to act is very difficult. And I think Grace has said it and Gary said it, effective communication. There's always going to be room for interpretation. Somebody's always going to do something that is not going to come across necessarily favorable. And it's a number of variables on why that may be. We can't just blanketly cross it, and cover it in the sense of, well, if you're an adult, then you should just know because you've reached these, pillar points.
Not everybody knows
growth.
Everything.
Yeah, that's
yo, bro. I'll give an example, right? Are you a married dude or are you single?
I am single, sir.
All right. So if a girl walked into your house, right, and she was on her period, and like she pulled a tampon out and like went into your bathroom and dumped it in your waste bin, are you gonna be cool with that?
I'm gonna be totally cool with it because I'm under the assumption that she did this before. So if it was something that offended me, I would address it. But the action came from past actions. So yeah, I would have to be cool with it until I address it. And then the follow-up to that is her acknowledging it or whatever. But it wouldn't be much offense. It would just go.
Hey, Truth.
That was a hell of an example.
Did I just hear you correctly, brother? Did I just hear you say that if a woman came into your home and I don't remember exactly. What did you ask him, brother? Dump what and where?
Yo, I've had a lady.
In my way.
Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah.
All right, real quick, just gonna be fast. One thing that I do know, and I'm gonna tell you right now, brother. Like, look, I've had nice amount of dates come by, so I'm only saying that to say. I've experienced multiple different personalities with women, bro. One thing I have noticed and learned, you need to set the ground. I mean, like before she even come to your home. So let's just say, for example, that's something you don't like. The only reason why you kind of threw me off, brother Truth, is because you said, I'm going to have to, what? You going to have to what? Your home? You going to have to what? Bro, if that's something if that's something that I promise you, because look, watch this. Let me just say this. If you really that dude at that moment in her life, whatever it may be, you that dude, I promise you, whatever boundaries, whatever you set and you say, hey, shoes off at the door, whatever it is, don't put your feet up on the front, whatever it is, I promise you, they will oblige. Especially when they see that you kind of carry yourself in that aura, in that light. So to say, I'm just going to have to accept that, I'm not accepting a damn thing in my house except what it is that what the tone I set. I'm sorry, my nigga. That threw me off, dog. And I'm just being real. I love you. I'm just being real, bro.
It's respect. That's why I explained it. I said in that moment because of his specific example. His specific example is why I answered it that way. I said I would have to accept it at the moment because this was a past action. So no, I'm not going to allow it. Exactly. That's
Thank
why
you.
I said, yeah.
Let me shut up.
Hold on, guys.
Hey, hold on. All right, Grace.
you missed the second part that he said. He said, I will be cool with it until I address it. He's going to address it, but he's not going to blow a tantrum and go off until he addresses it. And once he addresses it, he expects to change behavior, period.
Do you want to know why something like that's never happened at my home? Because like,
that's an example, Smitty.
Before they even get to my crib, I shit you not. Like, I'm not even joking right now. No cap, no nothing. Before they even get to my crib, I make it like see, and when I say I make it clear, I don't do it in like a, you know, a dickhead way. I'm just, see, I tell them in a way like, yeah, man, I'm definitely about my cleanliness. Like, I always kind of throw in how I like to be fresh, how I like my environment clean. I always throw in how my bathroom is always straight. I keep my toilet bowl clean, sinks washed. I don't have no toothpaste splats on my mirror. I always like kind of throw in. I add it in, I dab it into it. So guess what? When they come to my crib, I BS you not. Let them just spill a little bit of their drink. They all kinds of, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Do you have a towel? Do you have something? Because they already know. They already know the expectation that I have before they even came to my crib. So all that nasty, dirty stuff, bro, I've had chicks go in my bathroom and they was in there for about 15 minutes. Why? It wasn't even so much that it took them that long to use the bathroom. They just wanted to make sure that they cleaned up behind themselves. They was in there cleaning up behind themselves because they know my expectation. I'm telling you, bro. So you don't even have to say none of that. Oh, what's this pad in here? They will be embarrassed to even have you see that because they know how you carry yourself.
All right, let me.
I digress. My mic is muted. Rock out.
Home now.
And let me finish.
No. Smitty is just high voltage, baby. No. We good. We good. That's just energy for the show. We good, baby.
I answered the question based on the gentleman's example. I'm gonna give you an example, and this has nothing to do with the dating dynamic. And sometimes I think as people, mature, developed people, we have to take our frame of life and our little experiences and expand it. So I had a friend who grew up in the Dominican Republic, and he came and used my restroom one time. Well, when I went into my restroom, probably an hour after he used it, I noticed that he took the remainings of him wiping his ass and put them in the waistband. And because I grew up in America, and that's not how we do things, but in DR they do, I addressed it. Wasn't mad, I was more confused. And he educated me that, oh, I apologize because in my country, you don't flush these things down the toilet. So I was speaking to what the man specifically said, that I appreciate what you're saying, Smitty, that you set such a high visual standard of, and you're echoing the man that you are without words. You have a superpower, my brother. Hats off to you. However, for us mere mortals, that is not how it always occurs on a regular basis.
That is not a superpower. That is not a superpower.
Hey, okay, no, we're actually running on time here. So Leanne next, and then
all
Grace.
men can harness that.
I'm just being. I just want to know what the hell is she supposed to do with it. What was the proper disposal method?
Flush it down the toilet.
I'm just kidding. Well, except that clogs up some people's toilets, and they're really not supposed to be.
No, you don't do that. What you do is you get you like everybody has that little stash of like grocery bags and stuff, you know, from when you went shopping that you just keep around the house for whatever multiple purpose reasons. You put it in one of those, you tie that up, and then you put it in the trash. See, all you do is you conceal it for the smell, for the look, and everything else. You just get yourself a little bag. Look, all I'm gonna say is that's what my lady does. Okay.
Is that the man's responsibility or the woman's responsibility?
Can we get back to the art of apologizing?
I ain't got nothing to do with it. I'm just letting you know what I know she does.
Okay.
That's it.
Go ahead.
Let it go. Let it go.
I don't want to see that. I don't want nothing to do with that.
Okay, sweetie. So back to what I was saying, if there's anything that you can do to amend the situation, do it. That's part of a sincere apology. Using sincerity is very important in giving an effective apology. And part of that sincerity is a willingness to act, change behavior. Again, we're going right back in the circle. Everything you guys have said have made sense. Again, I'm just trying to inform and teach and discuss the art of apologizing. All that other yippity yap you guys are talking about, it's not relevant. I'm just trying to get people to recognize that there's an option. You can apologize instead of being wrong and strong. If you broke it, fucking fix it. If you broke trust, help build it back. If you took something that didn't belong to you, give it back.
Grace, your
No,
camera.
I mean, the relevancy was on a micro level. I mean, there's like the
Very
apology
basic,
on a.
guys. And if you said something hurtful, it means you should have never spoken that wrong. Whatever you can, I'm not done. I'm not done. Whatever you can do to make things better, just do it. If you don't know what to do, just ask the person, what can I do to make it better? At least they see you give a fuck. If you value that relationship. That's all I'm
I want to
trying
ask you
say,
one
with
question
that
before we
being
go,
said.
Grace. I want to ask you one question,
ahead.
Grace, before we go. All I want to ask you
We're
is
not
this.
done yet, but I'm just trying to move it along.
Okay, bet. Real quick, I want to ask you this, Grace. All right, and anybody else on the panel who want to answer after the host, cool. Grace, all right, so in a relationship, your man does something wrong, and I'm not even talking about like cheating or no, none of that stuff. Like, just let's say something around the house type stuff. All right, let's make it light. And which would you prefer? He actually says, "Oh, baby, I mean, like, he really gives you a kiss-ass apology. I mean, true simp central apology. But nothing came behind that action, right? You know, I mean, those words. Or something happened. The man said nothing. You really in your feelings about what took place. Let's say something was broke. Ooh, perfect. Something was broke, right? The man says nothing, but you just come home from work and you see, oh snap, he got the balcony glass fixed. Oh wow, you done called the people to come over here? He said nothing, but he fixed that porch glass that was accidentally broken. Boom. So which would you prefer? He gave you all of the apology in the world, but then still at the end of the day, he never lifted a finger, never paid a dime to get it fixed. I mean, he just went and did some cheap shit, like, you know, try to put some cardboard and tape.
I don't have time to play head games. If we've discussed getting the glass balcony door fixed and 2 weeks has passed, I'm gonna say something. Hey, come on, you know hurricane season's coming.
Nah,
up.
you didn't answer my question, Grace.
What was the question? I want both.
It's simple.
I want both. That's the
If
answer.
between the two, I accidentally break the glass, and you come home. Oh, listen, just hear me. I accidentally break the glass. You come home, boom, right? So after that, the most apologetic, most kiss-ass apology comes. Matter of fact, let's even say awesome sex was. Look, good D was even thrown in that night.
No, you can't even.
Nah,
hold on now. Look, we even going to throw in a good D. No, just as a consolation, we're going to throw in some good D. But I never get it fixed, or it happens. I say nothing. You really, I mean, look, even if for a moment, look, I understand you might be in your feelings. You think I done forgot. You think I ain't paying attention. And then you come home from work after I said nothing, but it's fixed. Not only fixed, I mean, like, looks good. New handles, everything. Which would you prefer? Do you want the kiss-ass apology with no results, or do you want the action with no words?
I want the action with no words, within reason. How long did
I
it
love
take
you,
Thank you very much. Yeah.
How long did it take you to fix it? You know, if it
What's
taken
so
2 weeks
complex
to fix it,
about that?
you gotta have both.
Wow.
We're gonna have communication. If you apologize and give me that kiss ass, simp ass apology, then right after that, I expect that damn glass porch to be fixed. Or if you don't do it, the next motherfucker gonna fix it. It's gonna
Right.
get fixed. So with that being
and then
with that being said, apology is one of the most parts of an apology, and the best reason to apology is to reaffirm boundaries. Again, a person doesn't know that they did something wrong if you don't let them know your boundaries, because healthy boundaries make a better relationship. If there's conflict, it's indicative that the boundary was crossed. If social rule is violated and trust is broken, an apology helps to affirm what kind of future behavior is preferred. Guys, I'm talking about relationships. I'm talking about your family members. How many years do people last holding fucking grudges and then regret it when they die and they never got to talk to that person, all because one thought the other one owed an apology? I mean, this is the type of shit I'm trying to get at, not this superficial shit about a glass door,
that's serious.
Grooming habits. I'm talking about shit that detrimental to people. Discussing what type of boundaries you both will adhere to in the future will rebuild trust and positive feeling. It provides a natural seed out of conflict and into a happier future in the relationship. Again, romantic relationship, working relationship, mother and son relationship, all these kinds of relationships. But we just, and there's a comment here that's been lingering on me, and we have to talk about this. I hate when you say yes, sorry, and the other person doesn't accept the apology. That needs to be addressed, because first of all, a person doesn't have to accept the apology. Don't worry about what the other person's doing or responding. Your role is to worry about you apologizing and you doing the right thing. So that comment right there, you can't get mad if the other person doesn't accept the apology. You really can't, but you have to talk about boundaries. And those boundaries include disrespectful, cheating, lying, gaslighting, mistrust. And in addition, you work together to set expectations on how you should treat each other emotionally, physically, and sexually. I mean, guys, this goes deeper than kind of the examples y'all have been using, and I let it ride out. But I mean, people are just doing fucked up shit to people and think it's okay, and it's not okay. That's all I'm trying to say. You apologize for the right reasons. When you apologize for what you did, you come to a resolution and move the fuck on. When we apologize, we're able to more easily maintain our integrity and forgive ourselves. The other person may decide to apologize as well. It's nice, but it's important to remember not always going to happen. And trying to evoke or force an apology from the other person is actually a form of manipulation. And that tactic sometimes backfire on you. Apologies for your own peace. It's not for the other person to accept. The other person may be inspired and don't apologize just because you expected an apology in return. That's not cool either. Apologize because you're being sincere. You're trying to make shit right. That's what I'm trying to get to y'all guys. You guys are talking about like really superficial shit. We need to at least acknowledge that apologies are warranted and they're necessary. And this is this comment right here. Let go of the results. To an extent, apology was sincere, empathetic, remorseful. Chances of forgiveness are greater, Michelle, but that doesn't mean the other person is ready to forgive or move on from the conflict. You can't get mad if they don't accept your apology. You can't control their response. If you've done everything right on your part, just let it go for now and be patient and be calm, but you can't force somebody to accept your apology. Yeah, I had to address that comment. That's crazy. You can't expect a person. I mean, they can hear you out, they can acknowledge your apology, but that doesn't mean you have to accept it. And let me read some of these comments because you guys been busy in this chat room. I've been at fault in the past, saying I'm sorry just to say it. I am now much older and know when to say something when it's my fault. And now saying I'm sorry when I feel I'm at fault is sincere. Yeah, it usually takes when we're older and we value relationships more. That's why. But I'm trying to teach the young heads. What else we got here? We got a lot of comments over here. I'm old school, LOL. I hate confrontations, but if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I'll apologize. No pointing fingers shit here, LOL. Okay. And then Alexis from Texas says, that's my point in saying I apologize, to acknowledge how what I said made you feel, but I'm not sorry for what I said.
Didn't I talk about that earlier?
Yeah. You're
Didn't I
sorry.
talk about that earlier when that happened to
Yes.
me? I told the chick, fuck you. Like, nah,
I'm
that don't
I'm
work.
sorry about how you made me feel. If you call, if a guy calls you a hoe, you're not gonna get mad that he called you a hoe. You're gonna get mad at how he made you feel. He called you a hoe. I mean, you shouldn't be feeling anything if it doesn't apply. You should let it fly. So
You're gonna get gone if you're smart.
you know, but damn, yeah, Gary, you just told me how you broke up with a chick because of that. Okay.
Yeah, I told it exactly. Yeah, but anyway, Grace, finish up.
Okay, we're at 10:03. You're right. Okay, so now the final thing is choosing your method to apologize. Verbal apologies are usually the best way to apologize. But as we know, we have people here that don't know how to express themselves, that don't know how to have effective communication. So making amends in writing can have its benefits. Some people just don't know how to deal with face-to-face conversation. And that can be a factor, because it affects the ability of you able to express yourself. Writing out your apology in a letter, email, or even text, I know that sounds easy, but at least it gives you time to thoughtfully craft your apology, making sure you accept responsibility, express remorse, and reaffirming boundaries. So far, what do you guys have to say about that? Or is it too sappy?
No, it was good. It was good.
So with that being said, let me see. We're gonna go into our final thoughts, but I'm gonna do a different little final thoughts over here. We're gonna go around. Gary, I'm gonna leave you for last. Okay. Drew, give me your final thoughts. And I want to know the type of apologizer you are. How do you apologize to people?
Great show overall. Thanks for having me. Think it was very much needed. So good, great show, great panelists. The type of apologizer I am, that's a good question. I think it is based on the response I'm trying to get. The nature of the relationship. I tend to be both vocal as well as action based. So if I'm truly apologetic and that person is significant, I tend to verbalize my apology, but I tend to present, it could be an experience, a gift, more, what are we like, not a parting gift, but a gift and an actionable, something that they can visually receive, so that they know that I'm serious.
Okay.
That's me. That's my style.
I mean, that's your style. And where can we find you?
On all major platforms. You can find me on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, same name. Check me out when you get a chance. I'm out here. Grace calls. I do my best to answer. Thank you guys for having me. Like I said, great panel, great topic. You guys be easy.
And I appreciate. Thank you, True. I appreciate you coming through. Smitty, tell people where we can find you, final thoughts, and what kind of apologizer are you? How do you apologize to people?
Unmute your mic.
Oh, my bad. That's just your respect. I'm the type of apologizer that is exactly what I've been describing all through this show today. I don't concern myself with really trying to tell you more than what I can show you. So if I'm going to apologize to you, whatever it was that I did, I'm going to make sure, if you borrow my car, don't smoke in my car. Never again, if given the opportunity. I'm just, example. would I smoke in the car again? I'm not going to keep smoking in the car and say, I apologize. I apologize. No, I'm going to show you by making sure it's never smoky again. And you can catch me at I don't know. You can catch me at Smitty's Corner. You can catch me at JVJ Network on Fridays. You can catch me over here at Embrace the Grace, on Thursdays, And you can catch me also on social media at County Kings. Just type in County with a K, no spaces. I digress. My mic is muted. Thank you, Grace.
Gary, final thoughts? How do you apologize? What kind of apologizer are you, and where can we find you?
My final thoughts. I mean, look, I think everybody, everybody has their own way of apologizing, right? So I think you got to find the best way that works whenever or if a situation warrants it. What type of person am I when it comes to apologizing? Well, if the person is if I value the person, if I value them, value the relationship, and if I've done something wrong, and in some cases that has happened where I've unknowingly done something wrong, then I would genuinely apologize. Like I would verbalize, my apology and have them hear the sincerity that, wow, I'm sorry, I really had no idea, or, so I would do that. But as I was saying, it just depends on how much I value the person. But also too, if it's out in the street, and as we spoke about earlier, you're in this supermarket and you accidentally bump somebody. I think we've all done that, or we've been at a concert or club and accidentally bump somebody, be like, oh, I'm sorry. So to me, it's no big deal. That is no big deal. I have no problem saying that. And then also too, True made a point earlier about when it comes to your work relationship, if you're a boss or what have you. I've been in that situation where something happened, and to maintain the work relationship, you say sorry or what have you, because you're not always right? Bosses are not always right, and I think when you're dealing with someone that's egotistical, they always want to be right, and it's not always about that. So let me just close it out by saying, again, Grace, welcome to the Boardwalk Global Media family.
Thank you.
You can catch me on Friday nights, The Real Discussion, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Time. You can catch us on Facebook, YouTube, also Boardwalk Global Media, Facebook, YouTube, and that's it.
Thank you, Gary, for coming. I appreciate it. I really do. Okay, so my final thoughts, guys. It's important to remind yourself that even if somebody accepts your apology, it doesn't necessarily mean they have to forgive you. True forgiveness takes time, so stay calm and patient. Genuine apologies aren't always easy, but that can be an important part of mending and maintaining important relationships that matter to you, if they matter. With empathy, an open heart, and a dose of courage, by you taking these steps, you have done everything you could. You executed a sincere and honest apology. If you don't remember anything or take away anything of this show, apologizing is always good, but changed behavior is the best apology. Change behavior. And to answer the question, what kind of apologizer I am, I was glad to read and find out that the things that I read and researched and relate to you guys, I was already doing. So I guess I was doing the right thing. If I do something wrong, I listen. I hear you. I acknowledge it. and I do better. I'm not perfect. I'm not gonna always do everything right all the time, but I'm gonna be mindful, and I'm gonna do the necessary things to avoid confusion and be someone's peace. So, but I always went above and beyond when I apologize to somebody and I really fuck up. I try to do it right. I ask that question: what can I do to make it better? You know, how can I rectify it? And most people don't do that. Yeah, they'll change their behavior, but how are you going to fix that too? So again, with that being said, change behavior is the best apology. Gary, again, thank you for coming. I appreciate you. Guys, you'll find me on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, WhatsApp, and of course, YouTube. And guys, don't forget, this is the JBJ Network. I'm doing shows. Hopefully I'll get to be a permanent on Thursday nights. I'm also a part of Broadwell Global Media. So we're merging. We got good things down the road, big things. So stay tuned. Try to be one of our A1ers. So don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. I love you guys. And embrace apologies. Peace. Take care.